Am I the asshole for refusing to change my daughter's name? My sister and I were raised by our stepmother and father. Our stepmother was very close to us and more of a mother than our actual mother has ever been. She passed away about 5 years ago after losing her battle to cancer. Her name was Leigh Ann and it was very important for me to honor her by naming my child after her. We selected the name Leanna in order to honor Leigh Ann while being somewhat different and more modern. My sister had the same idea with wanting to honor Leigh Ann and named her Tu-Yo Lee. We told her that we chose the name Leanna for the child we are expecting. Sister is very upset because she said that it clashes with her baby name choices. My sister is not currently pregnant but wanted to name her future daughter Ann or Anna as another way to honor Leigh Ann. She thinks it would be stupid for her kids to be named Lee and Anna with a cousin named Leanna. I agree that that would be confusing as we have a pretty close family and the kids would be seeing each other a lot. However, we had no clue that she wanted to do another honor name for a future kid. Going into this we knew that Lee and Leanna are pretty similar names but I thought they were different enough that it wouldn't be too weird or confusing. I do feel bad because she already had a baby name picked out for her future daughter and we would somewhat be making it not able to be used. However, we were both close to Leigh Ann and I don't think she should be the only one that gets to use an honor name. At the end of the day, she can still name any future kids whatever she wants. And I have the same right. After thinking long and hard about it, we told her that we were still gonna use the name. We want to honor Leigh Ann and no other names considered feel right for this baby. Sister has been making passive-aggressive comments since then. For example, we were out shopping with her and Lee picks out some kind of stuffed animal. Lee dropped at the Walmart parking lot on the way back to the car. My sister quickly picks it up and hands it to him saying, "Careful buddy, she might want to steal that too." I'm pretty sure she was trying to imply that we stole a version of his name or something but the whole interaction was pretty weird in my opinion. Edit. Her middle name is Karen for people asking in the comments. I don't want to use it for obvious reasons and neither does my sister. Edit 2. This is also really the only name me and my significant other both can agree on as we have very different naming styles. I prefer more classic names like Rachel or Paula or Maxine. He likes more trendy names like Moon or Adrian. Edit 3. I don't plan on using any more honor names for Leigh Ann in the future. We have Naomi and Stephen, honor name from the father's side, picked out for any future children. I don't like any girl versions of Stephen either. So, no, I'm not gonna name her Stephanie or whatever. This child is not Naomi though because it feels very wrong. We've tried referring to her as Naomi and it just isn't her name if that makes sense. Edit 4. If sister had a child named Stephen or Naomi I would not care. I don't own a name and she is free to name her future child whatever she wants. Edit 5. Her name is gonna be Karina Y'all. Karina Lake. Lake may sound like a weird middle name but it's for Leigh Ann Karen and her last name that started with Eliana is off the name list for good. I don't want to ruin my relationship with my sister and nephew over a name. Edit 6. I can't find the comment back but someone was recommending names and said Bertha. I actually love it because it's very classic but I feel like a child would get bullied with that name. Not the asshole, they are 3 different names. It's bad enough when somebody tries to pull that. You can't use that name, because I might possibly maybe use it at some vague point in the future. Crap, never seen someone try to claim. You can't use any names that sound even remotely related to the one I want. Though, that's a whole new level of entitlement. Careful buddy, she might want to steal that too. You're not stealing anything. You can name your kid anything you want, and they can name their kid anything they want. She might steal it. First come, first serve. You wanted it, you should have grabbed it sooner. Not the asshole. Your sister needs to calm down. 1. She doesn't get to be the only one to honor your stepmom. 2. She doesn't get to nix your name choice on some potential future baby. What if she has another boy? 3. What a messed up thing to say to a kid. Seriously, what the fuck is wrong with her? I've a brother John and 2 cousins named John. No one got mad at anyone else. Not the asshole. First, why does your sister get to honor your stepmother twice and you don't get to at all? Second, the second name is for a hypothetical child. If she has another baby and if she has a girl. No, it's ridiculous to hold out for that. Third, cousins having similar names is fine. Heck, cousins having the same name is fine. It happens, people survive. My husband has multiple cousins with the name David, the same as his brother, and the same last name. Not the asshole, but expect it to be something that comes up every now and then for a while. The key here is that the issues your sister is having is not that you want to honor your stepmother as well, but that you are choosing something that interferes with her plans. Oh well, name your kid what you want to name here. You actually have a baby on the way who needs a name, not an imaginary baby who may or may never exist. Not the asshole for naming your baby whatever you want. However, Lee and Leanna are already pretty close. People are going to call Leanna Lee, for short, I promise you. It's nice to honor your stepmom. Did she have a middle name? I mean, this just reminds me of a Dr. Seuss story called, Too Many Daves. There must be some other way of honoring a person besides naming every person in a generation after her. Not the asshole. She can name her future kid whatever she wants, but she can't boss you around about what you can and can't name the kid you're currently pregnant with. It's very entitled of her to think she's the only one that can name her kids a name that honor your stepmom. Her little snide comments would piss me off honestly. Am I the asshole for ruining my brother's childhood memory by admitting I photoshopped it 14 years ago? When my younger brother, 20 now, was 6, he went through a huge Harry Potter phase. He loved the wizarding world and believed he might meet Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe, or the other characters on a family trip to Scotland since Hogwarts was there. No one promised him this, but he convinced himself it could happen. Sadly, the trip was cancelled after our grandpa passed away, and my brother was devastated for both reasons. To cheer him up, I decided to craft a souvenir. I was 16 and had just discovered Photoshop, so I edited a picture of my brother with Daniel Radcliffe to make it look like they'd met. I printed it, framed it, and gave it to him without telling him it was fake. He loved it and fully believed he'd met Daniel. Soon, he had an entire story about the meeting, what they talked about, how Daniel hugged him, etc. It was so sweet, and none of us, my family and I, had the heart to tell him the truth. Fast forward 14 years, and my brother still didn't know that the old, low-quality picture of him meeting Daniel Radcliffe is fake. I never told him because his memory of the fake meeting felt so real to him that it became one of his proudest stories. Over time the memory became less important and the framed picture had been packed away in some box, and my brother has long outgrown his Harry Potter obsession. Yesterday, however, we were at our parents' home and we were bringing up old memories, you know how it goes. The story of meeting Daniel Radcliffe came up, and thinking it was harmless, I told him the truth. I thought he'd laugh but instead he got visibly upset. He didn't want to believe me at first, thinking I was messing with him. I told him the real story of how and why I did it. He told me that it feels like I robbed him of a real childhood memory that he really cherished, and he feels embarrassed thinking about all the times he's told people about meeting Daniel Radcliffe in person, even recently. We ended our conversation on a semi-good note, though. I apologized for not telling him sooner, because I do feel bad that it meant so much to him even now. But I don't regret it. Back then, it made him so happy during a rough time, and I don't regret giving him that joy. I just didn't realize how much it still meant to him. So I'm just wondering, or was I the a-hole? Not the asshole. It's like Santa. You did it with good intentions and he never met him. He was 6, now he is 20. Maybe disappointing, but he's 20 years old. It would be worse to continue the fantasy for an adult. I am sure no one ever thought at the time this would be the result 14 years later. Sounds like he just never got the memo it wasn't real, much worse things that can happen as an adult. I'm a tad surprised that you could convince a 6-year-old they'd met their idol when they hadn't, but you're still not the asshole. Did he even question it at the time? Just goes to show that false memories really can be planted so firmly they become real. Every time he told the story it was reinforced. Parents really should have said something by age 12 or 13. I don't get why people are comparing this to Santa. This feels so extreme that everyone kept up this lie for so long. You're almost 10 years older than him. Why didn't you or anyone else tell him sooner? Your grandfather died, he was a child grieving. This false memory would have been so easy for a young kid to cling onto in the midst of all that. It seems so cruel to do this for years. Everyone sucks here except your brother. You are the asshole for not telling him sooner. This is not like Santa or the Easter Bunny or unicorns or anything like that. This is something that could have actually happened and there was no way for him to know it didn't really happen. There are better ways to cheer up a kid than lying to them. This is seriously insane that you allowed this to go on for so long. If my family had told me I met someone or had visited a specific country as a kid and had a photo that looked real, I would absolutely believe it. I don't have much of a memory at that age, and anyone who says they actually do probably have false memories like your sibling. This is a horrible and weird thing to do to someone you care about. Not the asshole. You were 14, he was 6. You did a cute thing for your kid brother. It's not on you that the adults in the situation never clued him in, and let him persist in thinking this event really happened into adulthood. Really, they should have done something, up to and including getting him professional help, when he started developing the fantasy that the meeting had really happened and behaving like it was a real event. That is when the adults should have intervened, because that is when it stopped being harmless fun. Am I the asshole for selling a desk chair I thought was no longer wanted? I recently moved into a new flat. The guy moving out told me he isn't moving into his new place for a few days and doesn't have any place to store his desk chair, nothing fancy, I guess around $50, in the meantime. So naturally I told him he can leave it here for a few days and come get it when he's all moved in. 2 weeks later he hadn't talked to me again, so I sent him a message to remind him the chair is still here. He said he will come pick it up the following morning. He didn't show up, he didn't even send a message to say he isn't coming, try to reschedule. About 2 months later I sold the chair. The other day, 4 months since I moved in, and after over 3 months of no contact from the chair owner, he sent me a message asking when he can come pick it up. I told him the chair is gone. Since he hadn't talked to me for a long time I assumed he doesn't want it anymore. The guy got mad and blamed me of stealing the chair and demanded I repay him. Obviously I am not gonna do that. Anyway, am I the asshole, eh? Not the asshole. About 2 months later I sold the chair. The other day, 4 months since I moved in, and after over 3 months of no contact from the chair owner, he sent me a message asking when he can come pick it up. I told him the chair is gone. Since he hadn't talked to me for a long time I assumed he doesn't want it anymore. The guy got mad and blamed me of stealing the chair and demanded I repay him. Obviously I am not gonna do that. The chair was abandoned and you sold it. Not the asshole. He abandoned the chair, went no contact, demonstrated no interest in the chair, nor respected your time, space, communication, or goodwill. The chair was yours to toss, or do whatever with. Tell him tough cookies, block number and move on, op. Not your problem anymore. Unless you're leaving out details, I don't see a world where his actions made sense or require restitution. He gave up any claim the moment he failed to show up and ghosted you. Not the asshole, but you should probably have sent him a message before selling it. Hi. The deal was to keep the chair for a few days. It has been months now. My apartment is not your storage unit. You have until specific date to pick up the chair, otherwise I will consider it abandoned and sell it. Not the asshole. If someone leaves their stuff with you for months without any follow-up, it's fair game. He had more than enough time to pick up the chair and didn't even communicate. It's not your fault he disappeared like a ninja and now wants to play the victim. Not the asshole. To those saying you should have warned him to pick up by X date, you already made arrangements for pickup and he blew it off. How much effort are you expected to expend to get him to pick it up? You could have certainly said no, it goes when you move out or else I get rid of it. I'm a landlord and have a lot of experience regarding belongings left behind. Once your lease became effective, any items left become your property in my state. Tell him you'll pay him the value of the chair $50, less the cost of storing it, $25 per month. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for lying to my wife? My wife F, 28, works in finance and recently we went to her company event where I got to meet her colleagues for the first time. During the event she introduced me to some of her male colleagues. And somehow it ended up with me and 3 guys having small talk, while she left to talk to others. Eventually they asked me what I do for work. I work as a dentist, but I really dislike talking about work outside of work. So I told them it was nothing interesting. And the convo was moving forward. But one of the guys kept on asking and was so curious for God knows why, and jokingly said, "Are you embarrassed 'cause you work at McDonald's?" He was starting to annoy me. So I said in a dead serious tone that I do in fact work at McDonald's and that's why I didn't want to talk about it and tried to make it as awkward as possible. I thought it was hilarious, seeing his "oh sorry bro" face while the other 2 tried not to laugh. But like a week later, I kind of forgot about it, and my wife came home and started yelling at me about why I lied to her colleagues. Apparently rumors spread fast in her workplace and eventually the whole office was judging my wife behind her back until she eventually found out. I honestly do get why she was pissed. And it was a back and forth for a while until eventually she said what if she came into the clinic I work at and told everyone she was a prostitute. I thought about it and I kinda see her point. But at the same time I feel like she's just easily embarrassed and was just angry in the moment for getting judged by the office. However, she thinks I was childish and immature and did not need to do that. Her coworkers are the assholes for not dropping it when you demurred the first time. It's literally none of their business. The fact that they're judging her for your job makes it clear what assholes they are. But also, your wife shouldn't negatively judge those who work at McDonald's nor sex workers. You could have easily said I'm a dentist but I prefer not discussing business off the clock. There's no reason to hide your profession, and there's certainly no reason to lie about it. No matter how douchey her colleagues were being, your behavior reflects on your spouse. You started this by being cagey about a benign question. Are you still in your edgy, mystery teenage stage? No one was going to quiz you about being a dentist. You're not a secret agent. You are the asshole for being weird about it in the first place. I'm a dentist, oh nice, and if anyone asked anything beyond that, just excuse yourself from the conversation. You didn't lie to your wife. You made a joke to her coworkers and they took it seriously and decided to gossip about you. I think that is more messed up and you should be upset that she's hanging around these kind of people. It's also fucked up how they judged you for a job. What if you actually did work at McDonald's? There's nothing wrong with that, and would be kudos to your wife for sticking around regardless. What idiots, I think they were jealous that you have a wife and they don't rolling on the floor laughing. You are the asshole. There are always options that don't include lying. You are the McDonald's husband, now you're the liar husband, which doesn't bode well for your wife's workplace reputation. You are the asshole. How difficult is it to just say you're a dentist and leave it at that? What are they going to ask? How many root canals you did? And even if they showed an interest in you and your work, oh the horror, you can just say you don't want to talk about your work and be done with it.